Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Fri-Date with the wife. In these episodes, my wife and I offer an entrepreneurial couple's perspective on living a more fulfilling and meaningful life. We share our little humble opinions and hopefully make you laugh as we navigate the ups and downs of being entrepreneurs and parents. And speaking of fulfillment, if you want to hire me as your coach, head over to robshowcoach.com, fill out an application, and we'll jump on a call to see if we are a good fit to help you create and design your dream life and business. That's robshowcoach.com. Before we get into today's Fri-Date episode, our next Work Hard, Play Hard Mastermind event will be in Dubai and Abu Dhabi for the F1 race on November 16th to the 19th. These trips are designed to get you out of your day-to-day, around some amazing entrepreneurs, and provide bucket list experiences that will have you coming home re-energized to grow your business and bring your life to a whole new level. Head over to workhardplayhardexperience.com and fill out an application. Okay, let's jump into today's episode. Kimberly, lying in the bed doing a podcast, Murgatroyd, how are you?
I am oddly comfortable doing a podcast right now.
Fantastic.
I got a Squishmallow. I got a nice cool bed. This is weird. Usually we record a podcast sitting at a table with mics and equipment, but we're traveling. So we're just using lavalier mics. And I realized that I didn't have to sit upright to do this. I can just lounge.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling. The other weird feeling is to not have headphones on because I'm used to having you in my ears. So now you're quite a distance away. But that's okay because we've been together now 15 years, moving on 16. I believe, no, is it 14 on 15? Or because holy shit, our anniversary is next week? Is it next week?
Yes.
Oh my God, what are you getting me?
I don't know. What are you getting me?
Holy shit. Is this the first time? No.
We're always gone. We're always gone for
every year. We have.
That was our commitment. We got married in Europe, and we said for every anniversary we will always be traveling, and so
we have been.
We have been, and we will be.
This is not the reason why we are gathered here today. We are gathered here today to discuss the idea of contrast. Now, if you've heard us talk about contrast before, we're going to do it in a little bit of a different way. But let me first explain to you what contrast is. It's all the shit you don't want. Okay?
If you want to know what contrast is, join our Patreon community because you'll hear a nice long rant about the contrast of our hotel in Palma, Mallorca.
Yeah. So contrast basically is anything that you don't want in your life, you're getting contrast. Now, what people generally do is when they have contrast in their life, they're like, my life sucks. I don't like this. This is not fun. And I've learned to take some of the teachings of Esther Hicks, Abraham Hicks, Google that one, good luck. And also something I've learned recently from the vice president of Peloton on the Rich Roll Show. We're not friends, but I heard her on the Rich Roll Show. And she was talking about jealousy. So I've explained what contrast is. Now I want to move into the way that we take contrast and use it for a force of good and not evil. So one of the things that she said was jealousy. Now, jealousy is just another form of contrast, right? It's something that you don't want. So this particular lady, she was a lawyer, and she was very jealous of watching her friends with the lives that they were leading. They were, on Friday night, they were going to a bar at 6 or 7 o'clock, and they were having margaritas while she was still working. And she was working on the weekends, but they were spending time with their boyfriends, girlfriends, families, whatever. And she was always jealous. And then she realized that jealousy was a signal to make her aware of the things that she didn't want in her life. So instead of thinking of jealousy as something that is sort of like, a shitty, like whatever you're jealous over, a shitty part of your life, use it as a way to recognize what it is that you really want. So, we're on this extended trip right now. This is the longest trip we've ever taken. We'll be taking, I guess, all told, pretty damn close to 2.5 months off.
Oh, no, it is 2.5 months off. It's probably going to be closer to 3 months because we are booking a trip for the first week of August or September.
So what I decided to do this year, and, when you take a couple of months off and you have a lot of downtime, you are able, certainly as you're traveling and seeing different cultures and different people doing things in a different way, and frankly, being in environments that are new, your brain gets access to different parts of you, different parts of the brain, and you start coming up against and noticing more things that you want in your life. I'll give you an example. If, we're driving around Greece and we look and we see a villa and we go, oh, that would be really cool. I just saw this family, they have a villa. And it's easy to go, well, why don't I have a villa in Greece? So that would be something that I would add to this new piece that I'm about to tell you. And that's to open up your phone and open up a note. And at the top of the page, create a contrast list and just number it. And as you go throughout your day, or in our case, our summer, just write down the things that are giving you contrast. And so an example could be what I just gave you with the villa. And I would just simply write down a villa in Greece, right? Another thing would be, I wake up and I feel really stiff when I get out of bed in the morning. I'd write down like morning stiffness. That sounds funny. As it came out of my mouth, I realized how funny that sounded. So I'd write down,
how juvenilely hysterical. Yes.
He said would. And I would write this list down. So I'm now training myself that instead of being upset by either being envious by what someone else has, or being upset by something like I wake up in the morning and I'm the Tin Man, I start writing things down. And it could be big and small. It could be, you get the idea. And then beneath
it could be in all parts of life. And so, there's the saying, you get what you tolerate. And that is part of what this is. And before you continue, Rob, with this, because there's a lot of people that have the same contrast for decades and they do nothing about it and they just keep complaining. And maybe that's you, maybe that's the people in your life that you can think of, like who just popped into your brain the moment I said that, right? There's always the person that's been complaining about the same exact situation for as long as you've known them, but they've done nothing to change it. And they've done nothing to make it better because they feel what? They feel helpless. They don't think they can change that situation. And I think that a lot of people, like Rob, I think it's great that you're giving a strategy to change it. But I think the first hurdle is, how do you come from a perspective, Rob, that you can change anything in your life, that you take full responsibility of all things in your life, and you know that you can change them. But when people don't take that responsibility, or they don't accept it, and by the way, when I say take responsibility, don't take it as like a negative thing, like you got to take responsibility. I mean it more like, if you have ownership, full ownership, and you are willing to do the massive task of accepting ownership for everything that shows up in your life, and you either manifested it and it's negative, or you manifested it and it's positive, but you own it and accept it. Once you take that responsibility on, you get the power. You get the power of choice. You get the power to say, you know what? I brought this on myself. You know what? I created this situation, and you know what? I can change it. We say to the kids, like, I gave you life, I can take it from you.
Yeah.
But gentle, kidding. But I think that's the bigger hurdle initially, is getting people to understand that you do get in life what you tolerate. So if there's something that you've been tolerating in any area of your life, it could be your health, it could be your relationship, it could be your hobbies, it could be where you live, it could be your house, anything. Those things will keep showing up as long as you tolerate them. And so that's where I think this needs to begin, is you accepting that they're showing up because you're tolerating them.
Yep.
And step 2 would be take ownership of that, and you no longer are willing to tolerate, right? And then step 3, begin to write the list of contrasts that Rob's talking about. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump in, but I just felt like that needed to be said.
That was really good. I'll give you an example, and then I want to move on to the feel-good list. That this is going to be the second step in this process that I'm developing. First one is the contrast list. The second one is going to be the feel-good list. But one more piece on the contrast list. I'll give you a real-life example. So every time I open Rich Roll, if you don't follow him, he's got a great podcast, the Rich Roll podcast.
Not to be confused with being Rickrolled.
Not to be confused with
which our
being
7-year-old is obsessed with.
Yeah, we can go on a whole Rickroll tangent right now. But Rick Ashley tangent right now. Ashley. Don't even get me started, because I'm going to get the song in my head and I can't get it out of my head.
Never gonna give you up.
So I can't. Every time I come across Rich Roll's podcast on Instagram, or his handle on Instagram, I see. I've watched the development of his podcast, and as a podcaster, it's easy to get very envious. And when I'm envious with him, is not necessarily his success or his download numbers or anything like that. I'm envious about his damn studio. He's got a studio that is beautiful. Now, why am I envious about that? Because as a podcaster, I know that when you're in a space where you feel good in, then you create better. When you're in a space where your guest feels good, they give you better answers. And right now, all of my interviews are done over Zoom. And it's an afterthought. I'm doing it on my dining room table. I'm doing it I said bathroom. I'm doing it in the bedroom. And it's like the equipment isn't set up. The room isn't sexy. I'm not with the person. And I keep going, oh God, my podcast sucks. And this is I'm not good at this. And then I look and go, okay, what is it that I am what's creating these feelings inside me? And I realize that it's nothing more than I just want a beautiful space to do it in. So does that mean that tomorrow I'm going to go out and hire a film crew, a podcast editor, and spend $50,000 on a room? No. But what it means is that once I go, oh, this is something I want, then I add that to my vision. And when I add that to my vision, then I create the story of what it is. And if it happens in a year or two, I don't really care. It's just about me being able to take that envy and jealousy and redirect it into, oh, I want that. So let me add that to my goals. Let me add that to my vision and work towards having that. And then let me do all my, my woo-woo ninja stuff to visualize me sitting there on this beautiful oak table, with it's all clean and there's nothing on it, and you can't tell I've been visualizing this, right? And it's
or that you're a Virgo,
or that I'm a Virgo. Okay, so that's that. The second step of this is the feel-good list. As you go throughout your day and week, usually you need to kind of do this over an extended period of time. There are going to be things that you do that feel really good. For example, I have a lot of chronic sort of back pain. And there's this, Google it, because I know I'm going to get a million questions. Google Dr. Goodman 12-minute back routine. Dr. Goodman 12-minute back routine. And you will come up with a video that has 7 million views now. It's literally 12 excruciating minutes that if you do it, your back pain will go away. So whenever I do that 12-minute routine, I have no back pain for the day. Whenever I don't do it, or I do half of it, or I do it every other day, I have back pain, half of it, or every other day. So I now know that this is something that makes me feel good. Whenever I spend time with not having my iPhone and being with my family, I feel more connected to my family. So all of those, whenever I drink water in a meaningful amount, my body feels better. You get the idea. So I write down all the things that make me feel good. So when you have this contrast list and this feel good list, then you're able to delete the things that aren't working, add in the things that are working, and take the areas that, for whatever the reason, you just kind of feel like, oh God, why don't I have this in my life? And you have a way to put it into your life. Make sense?
That does make sense. So we're acknowledging the shitstorm of life as contrast. We're going to take responsibility for our life, and we are going to say we have the power to change my situation, whatever that is. We are going to take note of the contrast. We are going to begin working towards the contrast and adding more things in that feel good. Did I get this correct? You
got that correct. All right. So that's it. It's just an easy breezy assignment this week to help you live life. Now, Kim mentioned earlier in the show that we added a Patreon community, I guess is the right way to say it. I have no idea what Patreon means, but I know that we just, what does it mean?
You're a Patreon. You're.
Is that where?
Yeah.
So a patron. Is the word patron for a store derived from the word Patreon, or is that just a play on the word?
I think it's a play on it, but I think that's what it means.
Okay. So why did we decide to do it? We decided to do it because what we try and do in these episodes is give you actionable content that we think we can use to help you live your life better. But what we've come to realize is that through Instagram stories or maybe YouTube videos that we do, people just want to be a bit of a fly on the wall. There's two things that we hear a lot. One is that they love when we, if we're on a trip and we do a recording from a hotel, if we're in an airplane, if we're on the fly somewhere where we're just telling stories from the road as an example, or just sitting at a bar having a glass of wine and having a conversation. But these are moments where we're just shooting the shit, and it's not designed to be tactical and useful, but it's more designed to let you in a little bit more on our life. And we've learned that people want that. So we're going to add that to the Patreon community. So know that we are not taking anything away from what we're currently offering. We're still going to do the same podcast. We're still going to do the same Monday interviews that I'm going to do. We're not taking anything away. We're adding things.
Yeah. Another thing that we want to add is deeper content on manifestation and stuff like that. Because sometimes I feel like we talk about similar topics on the podcast all the time. And then I'll go on Instagram and I'll do a poll and I'll say, what do you guys want to know more about? And the same things pop up, manifestation, all of that. And we can't get to everything in the podcast, and we don't want every single week to be exactly the same. So we want to put some deeper, more tactical stuff as well into the Patreon community. And we will even have monthly Zoom meetups with on Zoom, micro coaching, different topics as we go. So we're really excited about, hopefully by the time this podcast has hit the Fri-Date and you're listening to it, our Patreon community will be open, and you can find a link in the show notes, or you can message us on Instagram and find us that way as well.
Yeah, let me just make a quick note on the Zooms and the micro coaching. One of the things, sometimes it's just not affordable for people to, hire me as a coach, frankly, and they sometimes just have like a question that they, if I could just get access to Rob and Kim and just ask them a question. This is an opportunity to ask questions in two ways. One is the Patreon app will give you a direct messenger access to us. And so you can send us a question and we'll answer it.
And it won't get lost in our inbox of Instagram or Facebook.
Yeah. And the other thing is when we do a monthly Zoom, you'll have the opportunity to ask whatever you want live, and we'll do some micro coaching so everybody can get the benefit from it. So it's a new experiment. We're trying it. We've never done it before. Hopefully, like Kim said, at the time you're hearing this will be live and you can go check it out. But again, this is not something that you need to do because we're not going away. You're going to have the same podcast in the same way that we've always done it. We're just giving you more ways to...
Just more of us. They're getting more of us.
You're getting more.
You're getting more.
You're getting more. We're giving you everything we got.
And it's possible that you could get some episodes where we may or may not have had a couple of cocktails and are sitting at the bar.
May or may not. Okay, so we are getting ready to pack up and head to our next location in the morning. And that next location is going to be Formentera in Spain. We'll be there for a few days, and then we're going to head over to, as they say in Europe, Ibiza. So that's it, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye. All right. Thanks for listening. If you love this episode and you know someone that needs some help in either stepping up their work hard game or their play hard game, it would mean the world to me if you shared this podcast with them to help me get this movement out there. So if you like what you heard, head on over to iTunes, take 30 seconds and leave me a 5-star review, and I will be forever grateful. So until the next episode, excuses are over. It's time to live.